Cancer, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March 2024. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. And in this monthly horoscope, I will be going over all of the significant energies you will be navigating for the month ahead. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. Now, let's get right into it. So as you can see, I have selected a chart for each week to give you a bit of a visual. And on the left side of the screen, I've listed all the transits for the week. Now, before we get into the energies for March, I want to touch on the dynamic Mercury Kazemi that just took place right here in your ninth house with Saturn. Now, this is quite significant. This could be the ending of a 30-year cycle. This can also be, karmic endings and completions with this energy because it's Saturn and because it's in Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac. Now, this being in your ninth house, which rules higher education, higher knowledge, long distance travel, philosophy, religion, belief systems. There could be a lot changing right now around your belief systems, especially with Saturn there. And Saturn's going to be in Pisces till 2026. So there is quite a lot going on in this area of life when it has to do with your belief systems. And that Mercury Kazemi may have really brought in some insight, clarity, or just a final understanding of what you are now done with energetically so you can move on. This can also be, realizing parts, aspects of yourself that have been holding you back in some way. Saturn takes roughly 29 years to transit the zodiac. Saturn has been in Pisces for about 1 year at this point because Saturn moved into Pisces March of 2023. But before that, Saturn had not been here for about 20 years. So there could also be some type of 20, like 29, 30-year cycle ending in this area of life. And it could be around your belief systems. Now, also, too, I do want to mention that March is going to be our final month with all planets direct for some time. April 1st, we have Mercury stationing retrograde. And so once we start to reach about mid-March, we enter Mercury pre-shadow. So we really want to be taking advantage of the first couple weeks of March to get things in place, continue getting things in motion and setting those foundations so that when we have all the planets retrograde, we've already kind of set in motion everything that we want for, the year. Now, on March 1st, we will have the Sun sextile Jupiter and Venus sextile Chiron. So Venus is still going to be in Aquarius at this point, sextiling Chiron, which we all just moved to that dynamic North Node Chiron conjunction, which took place in Aries and for you in that 10th house. But this is where this was a 2-week transit that we had in February, and there was a lot of healing taking place and a lot kind of coming to the surface, aspects of ourselves, like having these realizations of what has been holding us back, whether it's past trauma, and it really does have to do with the self because it's an Aries. So there was major healing taking place throughout the month of February. And this Venus sextile to Chiron can really be some opportunity or support coming in to help with that healing process. And the Sun sextile to Jupiter can really be nice for insight, clarity, understanding, especially with whatever was brought up with that Mercury Kazemi. Now, on the 2nd, we will have Venus squaring Uranus. And Venus rules your 4th house of home, family, property, and real estate, and also your 11th house of friends and friendships, groups, associations, online, social media. Now, Venus is the ruler of the South Node right now. So there can be, some almost insight or something kind of coming in, some type of support or opportunity around what needs to be released and let go here in this area of life because it is the South Node, or it could be something very unexpected coming back from the past. Now, on March 8th, we will have the dynamic Mars square to Uranus, and that's going to be quite powerful. On that same day, we're going to have Mercury conjunct Neptune and the Sun sextile Uranus. So the Sun sextile Uranus, I look at as some support and insight coming in to kind of help navigate this Mars square to Uranus. And Mars squaring Uranus, all this energy here in your 8th house, which can have to do with your partner's finances, money coming in from outside resources, taxes, inheritance, also psychological healing and transformation. You're going through a lot of psychological healing right now. The Mars square to Uranus can bring up something very unexpected that you're having to move through. So you really do want to be cautious at this time. Be aware, what is showing up for you. It could be, it could be around friends and social groups because of, the Uranus in the 11th house. But Mars is also currently ruling that North Node too. So there can also be something very unexpected changing changing the direction that you're moving into, which is very fated and karmic. So, March 8th is a day where we want to just tread lightly. We also have Mercury conjunct Neptune, which can make things very confusing, very cloudy. Mercury rules our mind, our mindset, our thoughts. Neptune can be very illusionary, can also be very deceptive. And so things can be quite confusing at this time where we're not knowing or understanding the direction that we're wanting to move in, or even how to handle a situation. Now, on the 9th, we have Mercury entering Aries. So Aries is right here in your 10th house of career and public reputation. Now, when Mercury enters the 10th house, there can start to be some, we want to keep in mind Mercury is going to retrograde in Aries. So there's going to be a lot of thinking about your career and maybe the direction that you want to move within your career. And this is when that can kind of start when Mercury starts to enter Aries. And then that's going to amp up as Mercury kind of gets closer to that North Node and enters pre-shadow. Now, on the 10th, we'll have the new moon in Pisces and Mercury sextile Pluto. So Mercury is going to sextile Pluto right here. So there can be some really beautiful mental transformation and healing kind of taking place. With that, it's almost like some powerful clarity or something very powerful kind of coming in that may be changing what you want within your career. And with the new moon in Pisces, this is a great time to set intentions for those themes and topics. Now, I do post new moon and full moon videos where I go into the chart for the new moons and the full moons and also go into all 12 rising signs. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the new moons, but this is essentially when we start to enter eclipse season. So we're going to start to feel the energy become very heavy and also start to feel what will be showing up for us with that eclipse, with both eclipses, because we're going to have two eclipses. We're going to have the lunar eclipse at the end of March, which we'll go over in Libra, and then the solar eclipse in Aries once we get to April. But this is when we start to have that eclipse energy really come in strong, and we'll start to feel kind of, what will be showing up for us at that point. Then we get to the second week of March, and on the 11th, we have Venus entering Pisces. Now, Venus is exalted in Pisces, so she does very well in Pisces, but we have Saturn here, the planet of structure, responsibility, accountability, commitment. So there's something here that can be changing. Maybe you're wanting to travel, maybe you're wanting to move, or travel the world. I mean, the ninth house is long distance travel. Maybe you're thinking about going back to school. Maybe you're I think there's a lot, to be honest. I really think there's a lot changing around your belief systems, religion, maybe, realizing what you once believed in is no longer in alignment with you. But there can be, a lot of focus on this area of life. There can also be maybe traveling with a friend because Venus rules out 11th house of friends and friendships. So there could also be something around friends going on where maybe you're traveling with a friend or you're deciding to take a course with a friend or you're deciding to do something with a friend based on, some philosophical beliefs or religion or, something along those lines. Then on the 16th and the 17th, we will have the Sun conjunct Neptune right here. This I think is really great for intuition, any type of spiritual practice. There can really be some, insight or clarity here when it has to do with spirituality and energy and intuition. Neptune, again, is that planet of confusion, deception, illusion. This is also great for romance. Neptune rules romance, but I just look at the Sun conjunction to Neptune as great times to be doing like spiritual work and energy work. Then we get to week 3, and on the 18th, we will have Mercury conjunct the North Node, and that is when Mercury enters pre-shadow. So this is when we want to start to watch what is showing up for us, especially for you around your career and public reputation, because it is in that 10th house. Mercury is going to station retrograde on April 1st and then move back, and Mercury will station direct on the North Node at 15 degrees. So there is something very fated and karmic about this Mercury retrograde. This one's very powerful. So we really want to be paying attention to what starts to show up on and after the 18th of March, because we will be in that energy and we will be navigating those themes and topics and moving through, that energy for the next month or so. Then on the 19th and 20th, we will have the sun enter Aries. So more focus on that career, public reputation. This really shifts the energy because we go from the sun being in Pisces, which is, very mutable, very adaptable, kind of very free flowing, can be also very confusing, not a lot of motivation. Jumping into Aries, which is ruled by Mars. Now we have the motivation. We want to initiate, we want to start moving forward. And then also on the 20th, we have Mercury conjunct Chiron. And this is where there could be, some really beautiful insight for your healing process, whatever that North Node Chiron conjunction brought up for you. When Mercury connects to Chiron and the North Node and is kind of transiting, because Mercury is going to retrograde right over here and then back over. This is where something can really come in, like insight, clarity, but it's something you're going to be moving through for about a month. So pay attention to kind of what shows up around this time with Mercury conjunct Chiron, because we'll be in that energy for some time. Then on the 21st, Venus is going to conjunct Saturn, and this is very interesting. It's going to be interesting. And actually, I would love to hear in the comments below how this shows up for all of you, because Venus conjunct Saturn, I mean, this is when there can be some type of solid commitment, right? There can be commitment formed, but Venus is also the ruler of the South Node and the ruler of your fourth house of home and family. So property and real estate. So there can also be something completing, something ending, something that you're having a final understanding of what needs to be released and let go of. Or again, it could be like a solid commitment. Maybe you're moving homes, maybe you're selling, maybe there's some change going on within your home and family, or friends and friendships, because Venus, rules that 11th house. On the 22nd, we will have Mars enter Pisces. So I don't really, I just, with Mars in the 9th house, I always say, just be cautious of traveling. Yeah, because sometimes, Mars, it depends on if Mars is your most malefic planet or not, but just be cautious of traveling, any long distance travel. But Mars, the planet of motivation, willpower, and drive, entering Pisces, which is very mutable. This is where there can be, lack of direction, lack of motivation in a sense. So this can be a little bit of a difficult energy. Which, eventually that Mars is going to conjunct Saturn, which we will get into that in next month's forecast. Then we get to week 4, and on the 25th, we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. So I want you to think back to October of 2023. What was showing up for you around home, family, property, real estate? Because there's more to that story coming in. We had our solar eclipse in Libra in October, which was bringing something in. Now, this could have brought something back from the past, or this could have been, starting to release and let something go that has to do with home and family. But there's more to the story showing up. I always look at the nodes and the eclipses as a 18-month story. And every time we have an eclipse, there's more energy and there's more to that story kind of showing up. So think back to October, what started. There's something coming to fruition here. There's something completing. There's something finalizing. And it could be a releasing and letting go, or it could be, something really coming back from the past. And then on the 27th, we will have Venus sextile Uranus. And so this is where there can be something very unexpected showing up around, friends and friendships, or maybe traveling, those 9th house themes and topics. But again, also that 4th house, Venus is the ruler of the South Node. So we always want to be keeping that in mind when Venus, this could be something very unexpected coming in that you're having to release and let go of, or now what you need to release and let go of. So I hope this helps you, Cancer, move through the energies for March. It's a pretty big month energetically as we enter eclipse season, and this is also the final month with all planets direct, so make sure you're taking advantage of that. But thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy my content and in line with my energy, and I will connect with you in the next one.